Oh,
yes, sir.
Buddy. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Funky Phil. Oh, yeah. It's Corey Kingston Horn here. Oh, man, I'm so happy to be here. We're on episode 29 of the Drum Brigade podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Oh, man. We are killing it right now, Phil. We're killing it. We're like the best podcast on the internet right now. Like I said, I'm Corey Kingston. This is the Drum Brigade podcast. Sitting across from me, turning knobs, pushing buttons, hitting record, MacGyvering a mic stand with a drum tension rod. Like, we lost the duct tape. Look, our show is janky, all right? We don't have any sponsors. We're funding this ourselves. So we had like duct taped mic stands. Phil is using a kick drum mic stand right now that was duct taped into place. He took that duct tape off and MacGyvered a tension rod in that mug, so now it works flawlessly. Woo! Still looks janky, but anyways, MacGyvering music stands, drinking coffee, pushing buttons, turning knobs, producing the show, holding it down. It's the one. It's the only. Fantastic. Filthy. Funky Phil Pardell. What's up, Funky Phil? Yeah.
Dang, that's an intro.
Man, I'm telling you, it keeps getting longer and longer. Dude, I always call you Philadelphia Phil because you lived in Philly for like a while, but
I did.
You're not from Philly, right?
No, I'm originally from San Diego.
Yeah. So, man, we got to find like Fontana Phil Pardell. I don't know. It's close to San Diego. I don't know. Is there a place in San Diego that starts with an F or a PH? Like Fullerton, Funky Phil,
Fallbrook.
You actually live in Fallbrook. What the heck? Oh my gosh, how did I miss that one? Philadelphia Phil, Fallbrook Phil.
It's cool. I did live in Philly, and it was fun.
Yeah, you played lots of drums, and you just mastered the art of jazz.
I wouldn't go that far.
You mastered it better than I do, man. I just cannot put my confidence in jazz playing.
Stop it.
I wish I could be the world's greatest jazz drummer. Like, all my favorite drummers are pretty much more or less jazz drummers.
You're a great jazz drummer.
I'm not a great
You always
jazz
do
drummer.
That. You're like,
no.
I'm so bad at jazz.
No.
And then you play jazz and you sound awesome.
No, you haven't heard me play jazz, dude.
Yeah.
It's not that good. It's not that good. Like, Fly Me to the Moon. Okay, maybe.
Like Timbo Grandma style?
Yes. That's a pretty good. All right. So anyways, this is the Drum Brigade podcast. We're here in beautiful, cloudy, sunny. What am I trying to say? We're in San Diego in the Beat Locker. We're like pumping them out. Dude, the show is growing, man. I'm on a high right now. The show is seriously growing. People are listening to us. Maybe it's just like a little bit nervous. I don't know. But like, I feel like people are actually listening now.
It's awesome.
People are responding to this contest. We haven't chose winners yet, but we will. People that just like posted on our iTunes, man, you guys are in the running for some amazing prizes. And there's a lot of prizes, which means there's going to be a lot of winners. So you guys are looking good for winning stuff. Let me just say that.
Yeah, thank you for the reviews.
It's too bad that both me and Phil threw like 10 each of our own names in that hat. So when we draw out, it might be us winning. I don't know. Drum Brigade podcast. You can listen to this podcast on all the platforms. You can listen to this show on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Spotify, YouTube, and drumbrigade.com. You can download and listen to all of the above on drumbrigade.com. We have a web show coming soon. We're working constantly talking about trying to get a space for that. Phil came in hot today with a possible space that we can possibly use. So we're working on it. Just trust us. We are working on it. So you can download, get all the information and all that stuff and listen to our shows on all those platforms. What else, Funky Phil? We have, okay, so we need you to subscribe to all that stuff. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment, tell us how much you like the show. Send us questions. If you guys have any questions, we base a lot of our show on you guys and answering your questions, but we have to just come up with random topics of the day if you don't send us questions. So send us some listener questions. We're always happy to respond. It doesn't matter what they are. Like, I've even responded to like questions about my terrible, horrible, sucky stomach problems. But they can be drum related too, you know. Let's see here. Me and Funky Phil also have personal websites and personal YouTube pages and personal social media. So we also need followers along with Drum Brigade. We also need people that like our content because we work really hard to put this stuff out, right, Funky Phil?
Yeah.
So Funky Phil is Phil Pardell at
philpardell.com.
philpardell.com. Phil Pardell at hotmail.com. If you want to email. No, philpardell.com. CoreyKingston.com. Those are both of our websites. Drumbrigade.com, of course, as I always mention. You can get some lessons, some sheet music, some play-alongs, all that stuff on Funky Phil's website. And then same with mine, information, you can reach out to us. What else? We got lessons, sheet music, like I said, also on the Drum Brigade website. I think we have that too. Our YouTube pages. Phil has product reviews on his YouTube page. He has lessons, play-alongs.
All sorts of videos.
Videos. Just hit the subscribe button. For me, I have a vlog called A Day in the Life of a Drummer. I just uploaded one this week. It's part 1 to my Vegas trip. It's just a drive up and a scooter ride.
I gotta watch that.
Yeah,
I still haven't seen it.
It's good, man. It's good. I edited it last night and it is up and it is live. I'll be editing the other ones of us playing and all that stuff. So check it out. I did that day in a life video. So when I'm playing, it's hard to film. So I asked like the horn players that were in the band when they weren't playing, hey, can you just push this top button and then film us playing for a little bit? These fools, dude, this is my problem with horn players.
Uh-oh.
We need them. They all think they're smarter than us. Okay. And then I get my footage. I look at my footage. There's like 45 pictures of us playing. No videos of us playing. So I got to track down some videos from somebody and see what the heck is up with that. Anyways, it's A Day in the Life of a Drummer. Watch that. Subscribe to that. Leave a comment. All that stuff. Tell me how handsome I am. It's all good. Drum Brigade is a community. It's a family. It's a place for drummers, drum enthusiasts, future drummers, and people who are just playing into music and culture to be among like-minded individuals. Drum Brigade is a way to support each other as fellow drummers, but also a means to push each other to excel and expand horizons in a spirit of camaraderie rather than negative competition. I don't like negative competition. It's dumb. We're just drummers, and we should support each other in camaraderie, not negative competition. At Drum Brigade, we have products, which are t-shirts, stickers, sticks. We have educational tools like lessons, video lessons, private lessons, Skype lessons. We have sheet music. We do community events sometimes, sheds, clinics, all kinds of things, takeovers, live broadcasts, all of the above. Drum Brigade is the Brotherhood of Drums. Phil, are you part of the Brotherhood of Drums?
Yes.
Of course you are. I am too. I love that. Before we get into it, we have a contest going on right now. I know I've mentioned it every episode, but we're starting to get some good reviews, and people are going to start winning some amazing stuff from amazing companies. All right, so some of the companies we're working on some more, but we got Haram on board. They've already delivered us some awesome stuff. Half a brick of sticks, an amazing stick bag, like a really dope stick bag. It's not like a student stick bag where you can fit like 3 pairs of sticks. This is like a pro stick bag for you guys. We are super stoked on Haram. Phil and I both use Haram drumsticks, and they are dope. They're first-rate hickory. They're amazing. We got Aquarian coming on. They're going to hook us up with some crazy stuff. We don't have specifics yet, but they have confirmed that they are going to hook us up with. They basically said whatever we want. So we are going to just basically take one of everything and give them straight to you guys. We got Brixton coming on. They're going to give us some dope clothes and hats for you guys. Again, we don't know specifics yet, but they have confirmed that they are coming on. Brixton. We also have Booty Shakers coming on. We got some floor tom feet for you guys to make your floor tom sound super dope. They really like make a difference, and so you guys should check them out if you haven't already. And if you leave a comment, you can possibly win a set of your own. We also have some gifts from Big Bang Distribution, which is like basically every company, like every company in the drum industry distributes through Big Bang. So I think they're giving us a bass drum pillow.
Nice.
Yeah, and that is going to be super dope. So I think, and then also Drum Brigade, you get a pair of sticks, a t-shirt, some stickers, all up in that mix. You guys are going to love it. Drum Brigade stuff is dope, and both Phil and I also use and wear Drum Brigade stuff.
I'm wearing it right now.
Yeah, me too. All of this stuff will have a link in the bio of this podcast, like if you're listening on iTunes. So just, click on them. Support these companies because they support both Phil and I. And now they're supporting the Drum Brigade podcast. And they're supporting you because they're just straight giving you guys stuff and not asking for anything in return. That is really dope.
And they just make awesome stuff.
And they make awesome stuff.
It's quality.
Yeah, exactly. So we're working on some other companies that are going to come on board and help us out and give you guys some stuff. Here's what you got to do. You have to leave us a review on iTunes or one of our other platforms, but preferably iTunes. Just leave us a review of our podcast. Hey, I listened. It's great. Funky Phil's voice is the voice of an angel. And, that's it. And leave us a review. Make sure you leave us your @ handle, so we can get in touch with you if you win. If you don't leave your @ handle or your your handle of how to get in touch with you, then we have no idea who you are and we can't give you something. So just leave it. A lot of people have just been leaving their name at the bottom, their Instagram or whatever. Leave that and you win something, possibly. All right, Phil. And sorry, Phil, you're out of the running. You can't do it. You can't win. I know you're putting in this show is really great. Corey is amazing at Milo Pardell. I'm like, no. Milo can't write yet.
Dang it. Felix can, though.
Felix can. He's 5 years old. Oh, yeah.
Just turned 5.
Oh, man. All right, let's get into it, Funky Phil. Enough of me talking.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Man, I got so much to say at the beginning of our show that, when we actually do get some legit, hardcore sponsors where I have to do reads, the whole show is just going to be, reads, dude.
Yeah.
I got to, refine this. Maybe I don't talk about the Drum Brigade so much. You guys know by now. Funky Phil.
Yeah.
How's it going, man? Your son turned 5. He got a loft bed now. He's all big and grown. Spider-Man sheets.
Yeah, he's got a big old deep voice and a mustache.
Jeez, man.
I'm just kidding.
Muscles. Dude.
Yeah, it's good, man. Had a good week. A lot of gigs and
that's good.
Family time.
Yeah.
It was good.
Did you go up to Mammoth again?
No Mammoth, no.
Yeah, that's good.
No.
That's good.
Just some normal gigs at a corporate party and
nice.
A couple private parties and then everyone's favorite, the Tin Roof.
Oh boy.
I remembered my clutch this time.
Yeah, good.
But dude, they need some new heads real bad.
I keep saying I'm going to replace them, and every time I play there, I forget.
I keep forgetting too.
Gosh, I need to just do it. I don't know what people are doing to those drums, though. I know, though, when I go
it's not
in,
me.
No, I know when I go in after you, though, they sound halfway decent, even though the heads are really worn out and beat. But I can tell you took some time and tuned them. It's that stinking 12-inch tom, dude. The 10 sounds okay, and the 16 sounds okay.
Yeah.
But the 12, I can never get it right.
The 12 is pretty whack.
Gosh. I hate that drum. So you played lots of gigs. You played a corporate.
Yeah. A couple corporate things. I played it was like a wine I don't. Yeah, it was like some kind of wine party, and like
Wow,
there was all these
fancy.
Yeah, there was a lot of people. It was a hoot. Everyone was getting loose in the day.
Nice. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, how was your week?
It was good. Just kind of a normal week. It's starting to open up, like it, starting to get out of the slow season. So I'm starting to pick up. It couldn't happen soon enough, man. I am like, I need some money, dude. Yeah. Like, I've had a lot of gigs, but that Vegas trip like really took a lot out of me, financially. So that was the only bummer about that trip, because I just I wasn't taking that gig for the money. I was taking that gig for, a little cool vacation type thing. So that was cool. But yeah, man, gigs are starting to flow in. I played like basically the first real Schmucky Metals band gig this week. It was just a straight up full on wedding.
What do you mean the first one? You guys have been on hiatus or something?
No, it's just because it's the slow season. So people like aren't really getting married and stuff. People are like coming down off the holidays and,
I suppose.
Yeah. So yeah, it was cool. It was like, I'm trying to like keep my head above water in the sense of I don't want to get burnt out, because I get burnt out on these wedding gigs, man, and corporate gigs. And like this was the first one of the year, and I was already like, let me get out of here, man.
Oh no, really?
I'm like, dude, I got a long road ahead of me, dude. I can't I can't be starting off this year basically like that. I think I've only played like one other wedding or corporate this year. So I think that's my only Schmucky Metals this month, maybe, besides showcases and stuff. Other than that, just I had my normal regular gigs with Marcel every Tuesday, every Wednesday. It's kind of cool. We got kind of different. We got James is out on tour. James is like in Asia. James East. He's the bass player.
No way.
Yeah, and so he's actually touring with his brother Nathan East.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wait, don't they both play bass?
Yeah. So
How's that
I think
work?
they do like both play bass, and then when Nathan is like, I think Nathan's like the MD, so I don't know who they're out with, but they're like they tag team bass, and then I think James also techs for his brother, I think, but both those guys are dope bass players. James is a homie, man. He's a good dude. Anyways, we've had a sub bass player for the past 2 weeks who's also really dope, but it's a super different vibe. It's like, and it's weird, dude. We're not like, I don't think it's his fault, but we're not getting the tips that we normally get. And then this guy is like higher energy and more of a performer. Like his solos are really like, wow, that was a nice solo, man. Like, so it's been a different vibe. It's been cool. Great bass player too. This guy's name is Cecil McBee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a great bass player too. So we're having some fun. Marcel's coming on the show pretty soon, like in a week or two, and we're only going to talk about his uncles. We're not even going to talk about him. Just kidding. So yeah, that was that. Dude, I got like a pretty dope gig coming up on Friday.
Yeah?
It's I'm playing with Western Standard Time at the Regent in LA.
Oh, snap.
Anybody who wants to go, just let me know. Hit me up. I might be able to put you on the guest list. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to post that, though. It only has to be people listening to this. So if you want to see some ska big band, let me know. I'll throw you on.
Dude, they're so good. You should go.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, you should go if you can, because it is one of the best shows I've been to.
You've seen us?
Yeah.
Dang, Funky Phil. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I went when
I
you guys
been nervous.
I went and saw you at the Music Box.
Oh yeah, you did go.
Remember? Kevin Higuchi got me in.
He did?
Yeah, the Gooch.
He got me into Thundercat at that place. I just like hit him up like, yo, do you know anybody at the Music Box? And he's like, yeah. When do you want to go? I'm like, tonight. And he's like, all right, hold on. And then like later on that day, he's like, all right, I got you.
Dude, he's so cool. We got to get him back on.
I know.
He's such a good guy.
We told him we'd get him back on after that tour.
We share the same birth date.
Really?
We both realized.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And you're both drummers. Wow.
It's crazy.
And you're both Asian. It's crazy. All right. So yeah, anybody that's going to be a fun show. I kind of have a soapbox about that show though. I don't know if I want to get on it right now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to offend people. Anyways.
Okay.
I'm playing with Fredo that night. That's cool. Fredo's going to be playing percussion on that gig too. So,
man.
Yeah, it's gonna
I'm
be
jelly. I gotta get my congas out there, man.
I know. It's this Friday at the Regent in downtown LA. It's right next to Skid Row, buddy.
Woo!
So make sure you lock your cars. All right. So, and then other than that, I have like 2 gigs on Saturday. My normal Tuesday, Wednesday at Eddie V's. It's gonna be a busy week for me.
Nice.
Nothing tonight though. That's good.
That's good.
T-Gross practice on Thursday. For what? I don't know. We don't have any gigs coming up, but so yeah, what's your week looking like, Funky Phil?
Pretty normal, but I've got a couple gigs coming up.
That's good.
I'm playing tomorrow, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, at a casino. They got Robo Drums at Hummel now.
Oh yeah, your favorite.
Yeah. Well, I really hope they're the Roland ones because I'm sick of no offense to Elisa's, but
yeah, I bet you they're Elisa's, dude.
It doesn't hold up. No. It doesn't hold up over the.
You know what's worse than the Elisa's, and they have no reason to be worse.
What?
Those freaking Simmons drums, dude. The big giant ones.
They've been around forever.
They have no excuse. They like pioneered electronic drums.
Yeah, they should be the best ones available.
They're horrible, dude. They're freaking horrible. I've only played them at Guitar Center, so maybe Guitar Center, like they just beat them to crap, but they're horrible.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a couple things. First of all, I forgot to mention our guest today, which is Chris Brady from Aquarian Drumheads. Oh yeah. Chris is the A&R guy for Aquarian. He's the guy that we talk to when we need to get stuff. He's our friend. He is the guy you want to know if you like Aquarian Drumheads because he's the guy that can get you dialed in. There's 2 guys at Aquarian that I always deal with. Him and this guy, Gabe. Gabe is the guy that actually will be like, okay, you need this, and then he'll go get it. Chris is the guy that okays it. It's
nice.
Kind of like, yeah, we'll talk to him more about what he does, but Chris is a good dude. He's funny. He's super chill. Yeah, we're going to talk about Drumheads.
We're going to talk about
Drumheads. We're going to talk about Roy Burns. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. So Chris is coming on. I got a soapbox this week. And I got a question of the day that's pertaining to endorsements with Chris. We're going to talk about the question of the day with Chris and all that stuff. So before we get Chris on, because Chris is kind of like professional and I got to keep it like, yeah, I'm one of your artists. I'm cool. I'm positive. I'm going to get on my soapbox before Chris comes on.
Uh-oh.
All right, so let's do it.
I ain't trying to hear that right now.
Oh, yeah.
What's
All right.
up?
Funky Phil.
What happened?
Get into this. On my gig on Wednesday, this is the same thing I was talking about last week. Same gig, I mean. When people walk by my cymbals and touch my cymbals. Okay, this is the same gig. So, I haven't been playing a lot of Schmucky Metals band gigs, so a lot of my soapboxes pertain to my residency gig on Wednesday night. So this happens a lot, and I've probably ranted about this before. I freaking hate this. All right, there's so many layers to this. Okay, me and this bass player are sitting down.
This is the substitute
bass player. Sitting down like at a booth at a table, just chatting, talking. This group of like 3 people come out, and this guy is like already overly aggressive. This guy is already annoying. Like you ever look at somebody and you're just like, I just kind of want to sock you in the face, dude.
No.
Yes. What? That's kind of how I felt about this guy. Like just walking up, I'm just like, dude,
damn.
Like
that. There you go, everybody. Be careful when you approach Corey Horn.
Sock you in the face,
he might
dude.
Not like your face.
Okay, so this guy just had a face that just needs to be socked, Phil. Okay, He walks up to me and Cecil, and first of all, he just goes, okay, so you guys, which one of you guys is the bass player?
Uh-oh.
First of all, we're just sitting there. We could have just been like waiting for our food, dude. You just assume that we're the musicians? First of all, why are you just assuming things, bro? Next time somebody does that, I'm going to be like, what do you mean musician, dude? I'm just waiting for my pizza, bro. Pasta, whatever, my lobster. I don't know, whatever these people eat. So he goes, which one of you is the bass player? And I'm already annoyed because of his assumption that we're musicians. Maybe we just look like musicians. I don't know. Obviously we wouldn't be eating there. No, heaven forbid. Okay, anyways.
Oh, man.
So then he's like, which one is the bass player? And then we both point at each other. And he's like, so then he just starts talking to Cecil. And he's like, so what do you got? What is that? An Ibanez? Or I don't know what kind of bass Cecil plays. But he's like, yeah, that's sweet, man. That's sweet. Yeah, I've never seen it with 5 strings like that. And I'm like, oh, boy. And he's like, well, yeah, I got the same bass, basically. I got an Ibanez. I play. Basically, I'm just letting you know that I play. Like, I play. Everybody here, I play. You got to let everybody know that you freaking play, dude. We get it. Like, okay, good for you. We're happy. We're so proud of you, man. We're so proud of you that you're eating at a place and you have to go up to the band that's just freaking working here. Assume that we're in the band, first of all, and then just be like, I play too. Gotta let you know. So then he's like, he's really only doing this to show off to his friends that are with him. Takes it a step further and goes, so like, Cecil's like, yeah, it's like this bass and it's this model and I put these pickups on it. And he's like, oh man, that's great. Can I touch it?
What?
Can I touch it? And so Cecil's like, I guess, yeah, go for it. Dude picks up his bass and is like, and he's looking at his friends, like nodding yes, like, like looking them in their eye sockets, like, yeah. Oh, and then he's like, oh, that's pretty nice, man. He's talking fast too. Like, he's like, yeah, it's pretty nice, man. Man, you got the action really low. That's really great, man. Anyways, well, we're going down to eat right now, but, if anything happens, you need somebody to step in for you. No. I'm right downstairs. And Cecil's like, got it. Yeah, okay, got it. I'm like...
What a scumbag.
This is not an exaggeration, dude.
All right, I could see why you would feel like he needs to be socked in the face.
Yeah. So I socked him in the face. No, I'm just kidding.
That's so weird. And he wasn't even like, oh man, well, have a good set. I'll come. We're definitely going to come up and check you guys out.
No. He didn't come and check us out.
What?
He didn't come and check us out. If anything happens to you and you need somebody to step in, I'm right downstairs.
Oh, goodness.
That's what he left on. Goes downstairs, and I look at Cecil, and I'm like, Cecil's so cool that he didn't even really he doesn't have a soapbox like me, but he was just kind of like back on his phone, like looking at Tinder or something. I don't know. And so I'm like, I go, would you ever do that? And he's like, do what? And I'm like, would you ever just go up to the band and just be like, yo, first of all, like, let me just hold your bass and touch it after I just got done eating freaking calamari or whatever. Like, and then he just started laughing. And I'm like, and then would you be like, oh, and if you need me to step in, I'm your dude. Like, why? Who does that?
People who don't actually play music for a living?
That's what I said.
Yeah, he must be like, I don't know.
I'm like,
he must work some kind of office job.
He goes, yeah, I would never do that. And I'm like, I would never do that. I said, I've gone to jams or see other bands, and the most I'll do. First of all, I'm not going up there and being like, just so you know, I play. Mm-hmm. Like I also play. But they can read between the lines. Like you can just be like, hey, like you sound great. Hey, what kind of ride is that? Oh, it sounds great, man. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like that's the most I would do. Hey man, you sound great tonight. What kind of snare is that? And then, oh, are you a drummer? Yeah, but I'm just here to watch. Like,
yeah,
that's my move.
Mm-hmm.
But never would I ever be like, can I touch it?
Oh yeah, no.
And then if you need me to step in, I'm your guy.
Yeah,
just to show off in front of your people.
Mm-mm.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Dude, I hate that when guys show up and they have to show that they belong. That's the first sign that you can tell that you are not a musician, dude. You're not a real musician. You're a weekend warrior clown that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Just go eat your stupid lobster and calamari and leave us alone, dude. Stop talking to me. Dude, seriously. Stop talking to me. Stop talking to me. You know? That's why we have that drop. Stop talking to me. I tuned out, dude. I was just looking at my phone like, I do not have time for this clown.
That's so funny.
All right. So anyways, Cecil was like, yeah, I would never do that. But I said, that's how you can tell you're not a musician when your move is that. Oh, there's a bass there. Obviously, I'm superior to you because I'm eating at this place. I also obviously have money. Like, whatever. I don't know what this idiot is thinking, but like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't just show up and enjoy yourself like everybody else. But don't do that. That's a stupid move, dude. Beat it. All right, anyways, that's it.
I ain't trying to hear that right now.
I'm definitely not trying to hear that right now.
No, that's not cool.
God.
I hate that when people come and try to sit in, especially like people you don't know, and they're just like, hey, or they want to sit in with the band.
Oh,
that's
no.
like, come on.
That's another move that I hate when people just like invite themselves to sit in.
Yeah.
Like, if I invite you, that's fine. But like, I even like it when like, it's okay. Like if your friend is like, hey, he or she doesn't want me to do this, but she's a really good like singer.
Yeah.
And she's like embarrassed to do it. That's still a musician move. Like where you're like, hey, I'm not here. I'm just respecting your space and your gig. But your friends are like, hey, would you mind if he sat in? Trust me, he can really play. But dude, I have a lot of soapboxes about people sitting in, dude. I've gotten on probably 5 soapboxes about that.
Yeah.
Or more. But it's an ongoing problem with these idiots. People need to stop with like, dude, listen, I got this gig. You didn't. So start a band and do the legwork and get like your own gig, you know?
I mean, that being said though, when I see drummers that I know at gigs in the audience and stuff, I'll usually invite them up to sit in.
That's funny, Phil, because you've never done that to me.
I have.
Just kidding, dude.
I think you've only come to see me play once.
You didn't invite me up at NAMM show, so I'm mad. Just kidding.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. No. Normally when you're like, hey, do you want to sit in? I'm like, no. I'm not here for that, Phil.
Yeah, I pretty much never want to sit in when I'm at someone else's show.
And I always want you to sit in.
Nope.
That doesn't make any sense. No, look, drummers that are there, like for me, if I see a drummer or even if I meet you and I know you're a good drummer, or I know that like hey, like there was another same gig, another guy's there all night drinking, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But James introduced him to me. Hey, this guy's a great drummer, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, great to meet you, man. Like, blah, blah, blah. He ended up, he was at our NAMM show event and that's where we met, but I didn't know that. And I'm like, dude, do you want to sit in? And he's just like, I mean, yeah, cool. If it's cool, yeah, I'll sit in. And it was fine, dude. It was like, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
But don't come up to me and be like, hey, man, what's up, man? Are you the drummer? Like, and then, not that that's offensive. Like, I like people identifying me as a drummer. But it was the way it was done.
Yeah.
It was the way it was done. Obviously, these guys are not like part of the demographic for this place. You know?
That sucks.
It's so stupid. Get over yourself. Get over yourself. I have to hit this again.
I ain't trying to hear that right now.
All right, man. That was my soapbox. It wasn't a very hardcore soapbox, but yeah. I'm gonna get on my other soapbox later after we get Chris on.
Oh, you've got another one.
Yeah.
Oof.
I know. It's not that great of one, but it's a good one. All right. So what we're gonna do is get our guest on, Chris Brady from Aquarian Drumheads. Are you ready to do this, Funky Phil?
Yeah.
Drum Brigade.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Funky Phil. Mm-hmm. We got a special guest on the line. Mm-hmm. This is a guy that we love to know because we only just call you just for like needs. Like, hey, Chris, we need this. So, all right, get that pulled for us, and then we'll talk to you later. And then we just like, you know, like this guy is I guess you're the artist rep, right? Do I have that right?
Amongst other things.
Okay, yeah. One of his jobs is the artist rep for Aquarian Drumheads. On the line with us is Chris Brady. Chris. Oh,
Corey.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Funky
man.
Phil.
Yeah,
hey,
yeah. Our studio audience loves
you.
you.
Say too much there at the beginning. He was just like, "Oh yeah,
No, he just like grunts. He just grunts
kind of
from
a
time to time.
stoic, a man of few words. I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
I let Corey do the talking.
Yeah, Lord knows I do enough of it for both of us. Phil just like, yeah, he's like, he produces the show, so he like turns the knobs and makes sure, like when I start yelling, he's turning me down or, so. Yeah.
I love it. There's going to be yelling today?
Well, you just missed the soapbox segment.
There might be more.
My soapbox was about this bass player that came up. He wasn't really a bass player, but he just came up and he's like, so you guys are like obviously the musicians at this restaurant. And then he's like, who's the bass player? And then he's just like, yeah, so that's a nice bass, man. Can I touch it? And the last thing he said to us was like, yeah, well, if anything happens to you, I can sit in for you. So just let me know. I'll be downstairs eating. And he like bailed.
When he said, can I touch it? You should have said, yeah, do you mind losing a finger?
I should have said, touch what? And then just let him be awkward.
Or you should have said, it's hammer time. You can't touch it.
Dang, I love that. That's what I should have said.
Man, so many options.
Oh, man.
Yes. Nobody told me this would be multiple choice.
This is like that Seinfeld when you're like driving down the road and you're like, dang it, I should have said that. Like,
yeah.
You want to go back and say it to him.
You know who was the king? I don't know what our kind of roadmap is for today, but you know who was the king of that? And a lot of endorsers will tell you this. Roy Burns. That's one of the things I admired because he had so many great stories.
Yeah. And
all of his stories involved saying that thing that you wish you would have said right at the moment. We all, like the next day, we all sit there and, man, I should have said, why didn't I come up with this zinger? Or why didn't I politely express myself or say this or that? Roy was amazing at that.
Oh,
he
man.
just had a way of cutting you to the bone, and sometimes in the nicest way, but he could do it. He had the presence of mind to do it on the spot, and most of us are the Monday morning quarterback. Man, I really wish I should have told that guy this. And
that's when you tell your friends.
Amazing.
That's when you tell your friends what you like wish you would have said, and then I said, "Bam!" And you're like, "No, I didn't really say that."
Yeah, and then they say, "Did you really say that?" And you go, "Well, no, but I thought about it 2 days later."
Exactly. I guess that's like a really great place to start, man. Like, first of all, thank you for coming on. We're so stoked to have you on. We've been trying for a while, and we finally, you're a busy man, handling all of us, our artist needs at Aquarian, among other things, as you said, working with Roy Burns for all those years before he passed away not too long ago. What was that like, man? Like working with a legend and, like the first time I went into the offices, I was like, I was talking to you or Nat and I was like, dude, is that Roy Burns? And they're like, you guys are like, yeah, man, go sit at his desk. And I'm like, I can't do that. No way. I can't do that. And that was like one of the best things I ever did. Yeah, exactly. Like, really? Just go sit at his desk? And like you said, man, he was so like second to none, man. He just took the time. Like, I didn't expect him to know who I was or, know that I played, Aquarian stuff or anything. I just wanted to be a sponge, and sit there. And I've talked about it on the show before, but he gave me some like really great advice as a teacher and just what a great guy and just, a true legend in our community, in our industry. So,
well, I was blessed enough to get asked by his wife, Mrs. Burns, to deliver the eulogy at his service, and that was the thrust of my eulogy was legend and a champion too, or a champion and a legend, and of course, like most drummers, before I started here, I knew about Roy Burns. Now, I'm probably, and at my age, I probably should have seen a clinic, but I'm one of the few guys that never saw a Roy Burns drum clinic.
Wow.
I'm probably one of the only ones. but I knew the books. I worked out of the intermediate, his intermediate method book. And so I was aware of, like, the finger control. He and Lou Mal, I believe it was Lou Malin wrote that. So I was well aware of Roy, and I'd worked in music stores, so I knew, before I started working, I knew the company and the products and whatnot. But boy, past knowing the basics, which is played with Benny Goodman and the books, the educational material. Man, did I get an education here over my tenure with Roy, working for Roy.
Yeah.
And just the stories and of course I learned a lot about drumming. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. But I learned tons about business, the music business and just business in general. I mean, and just some broad things like, you're a young guy and you come in full of ideas and stuff. And one thing I learned from Roy, which is great, is, it's great, but why don't you just sit down and assess the lay of the land first before you want to change the world?
Right.
And that was amazing advice. Just, it's cool. We want to hear what you have to say, but why don't you learn some stuff first? Why don't you get a feel for the company and for this side of the business? Because up to that point, I'd just been, playing in bars and doing weddings and teaching and working part-time at music stores. So I kind of had a grasp of some of those type parts of the business, but not this end. Mm-hmm. And so it was things like that I learned from him. And he could always calm me down. He would always say, Chris, I know this is frustrating, when dealing in certain situations, maybe with situations that had gone south, he'd say, Chris, just write it all down on paper, get it out of your system, come and talk to me about it, and then crinkle up the paper and throw it away. And there was just so many great little pearls of wisdom like that through my 22 years here that I picked up along the way, and just all his amazing stories. And he was, there's probably a generation of people right now that are not familiar with Roy, and they should educate themselves, because he was a heavy cat.
Yeah.
I mean, at a young age, jumping on a train to go to New York, we're talking a young guy.
Wow.
Probably late teens, maybe 20, going to New York with drums, a suitcase, and a little bit of cash in his pocket. Dang. I'm telling you right now, I don't have that kind of guts.
Neither. Man.
I don't have I don't have that in me. That's huge courage. And then to go there and then to start landing gigs, in this business, I really only equate one other gentleman that had sort of accomplished a broad swath of things like Roy did, and that would have been Vic Firth.
Yeah.
I mean, a player at a high level. There's plenty of people at companies that play really well, but not at that level. There's making it to the Super Bowl, and then there's, everything else kind of.
Yeah.
And Roy and Vic made it to the Super Bowl, right? So Roy played with Woody, Herman, Benny Goodman, Lionel Hampton.
Wow.
Sessions. So Vic did all that, right? The Boston Philharmonic, the Boston Symphony. They were both amazing authors and educators, right? In that field, they crushed it. Then, of course, clinics, and then you have being a manufacturer, working on that side. And there's really only two guys that I can think of that really did it at high levels in all those different fields of the music business, and that would have been Roy and Vic. Really, I can't. And if I've slighted somebody, my apologies, but really nobody else comes to mind that was that heavy, other than those two in our industry.
Yeah,
the percussion part of it.
That's what's so like. I think that's what intrigues me so much about Roy Burns is even till this day, the things that I loved about him obviously is his attention to education and putting out, books And then, most of us or all of us at some point, if you ever took a lesson, as a kid or whatever, you somehow had your nose in one of Roy's books. But I love that he was like an innovator. Aside from being an innovator with his playing, he had his hand. He's like kind of doing what a lot of us, I guess what I'm trying to say, I'm chopping all over the place, but what I'm trying to say is like when you're a professional drummer or musician, sometimes you realize that you have to do other things to make ends meet.
Well, he was almost a precursor, he and Vic, of what a generation of drummers have become now, or what they need to be, which is your hands in many different pies.
That's what I'm saying.
But he was doing it way back when, and I was just listening to. I went down a YouTube rabbit hole, which we all do frequently, and I was checking out those Dom Familaro's session videos, and the Weckl. I watched the Weckl one, and it was great because he spent a little bit of time talking about Roy.
Wow!
Like learning how to read in high school, playing big band reading, interpreting figures and kicking the band and all that stuff. And he mentioned Roy a couple of times in this video with Dom, the Big Bad and Beautiful package, which was had an impact on him. It was very educational for Dave and helping him, understand how to play with a big band and have charts to read along with and understand how to kick the figures and play the ensemble figures and be supportive. And so that was pretty neat. It's just another thing that popped into my mind yesterday, like what a heavy guy Roy was in the industry and what an impact he had. You can ask, like I said, I'm probably one of the only ones that hadn't seen a Roy Burns clinic or guys my age or older, but you can ask Gad and Weckl and Vinny and all those guys, those heavy guys, and they'll tell you one of the first clinics that they ever saw, if not the first, one of the first, was a Roy Burns drum clinic, and what an impact that had on them. So
that's crazy.
Pretty deep.
I love too that he was, he worked right up until he passed away. He was in the office working, right?
He would come in every day. It got to a point where he got super ill. That last year there, he just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
There's just no way. He was battling a lot of stuff, and he just couldn't do it. But up until that point, he'd come in every day.
Wow. That's so amazing. That's like, it just goes along with what we're saying. The other thing that I really love about Roy is he still paid attention to the younger guys, the up and coming or the guys that are hot right now. He was like I felt like the company, I would have never known that the company like Aquarian was ran by or owned by an older gentleman from the older generation. I felt like he was very much
because
now.
Roy understood that the things that he dealt with, it didn't matter if it was big band jazz, from way back when. The situations don't change, people don't change, and the circumstances, the situations don't change.
Right.
So, insert heavy metal drummer into the story. It's all the same.
Right.
Well,
and that's what I mean.
Jim Gaffigan would say, "It's all McDonald." it's all the same, right?
Yeah. I love that.
It doesn't matter if it was big band jazz, or you could apply that. That was the great thing about the concept articles. Mm-hmm. Yes, they were for drummers, and they were stories about drummers for drummers. But you could literally, in the eulogy, you said there were there's part Eastern philosophy, part psychology. You could insert any endeavor into those articles: tennis, business, writing a book. Right? Mm-hmm. They covered basically life. It wasn't just solely about drums.
Yeah, that's kind of like what we're all like. That's what our show is kind of like about. It's not meant to be like just super techie and dorky, and it's just about to be about drummers being drummers and hanging out. And so it's inspiring, when you see somebody like Roy. Like when I look at some of the ads, or like at NAMM show, you guys had posters and stuff like that at the booth. It's not just like all old school dudes, you know. It's like you got like a big old picture of Tosh, who's like a really young up and coming, like, you know, drummer that's killing it right now, or a lot of like Eric Moore, you know, where these are like relevant drummers now. They're not drummers that have played with so and so or have the resume. They're building their resume now. And I felt like Roy really, maybe all you guys, but specifically Roy, like really paid attention to that specifically. Like, this guy is like me when I was his age. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's amazing. You don't see that very often with a lot of these companies.
Well, and I think I wouldn't say we're unique to that. I think a lot of companies, especially with social media now, you have to. It's a different way of doing things, and it's a different era. It's a different way to interact. So you do have to focus on the upcoming generation. We still have, you know, our marquee type artists, our legends, and those type of people. And I mean, any company's artist roster, you want to have a wide, you know, depth and breadth of all kinds of players. So you want to have those legends and those guys that have experienced drumming in life. So you guys like Danny Serafin or Jack DeJohnette, you know,
right,
Johnny Vidakovich, those really heavy cats and you want to have guys in all kinds of genres, and you want to also have, and we're getting more into this, the younger up and coming, you know, artists, and, you know, even some of the ones that are teenagers, because they're just crushing it. And, you know, you can recognize, well, there's something extra going on there. There's some special talent, and we think this drummer is going to go on to do really cool stuff and accomplish some great things.
Right. Well, that's awesome. I love that. I know Funky Phil loves it, but he won't ever say it.
Funky Phil, are you still there?
Yeah,
are you with us?
I'm just listening.
Yeah, dude, that's
okay.
Awesome. Let's pivot and talk about you. So, what do you do at Aquarian? Like, what's your job? Take us through like what your day to day is.
Enough of you talking about me. Let's hear me talk about me.
Exactly.
or as Greg Bissonette would say, "Hey Corey, it was great talking to me." And then you would say, "That's great. The pressure was all mine."
That's if Greg Bissonette will talk to you. He wouldn't talk to me. So
he would. I just talked to Greg yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I've known him for a long, long time, and to me, he was another guy. He's not an Aquarian artist, but if we're just talking about drummers, he's another guy that had such an influence on me and an impact. And he is one of the sweetest guys in the business. He really is, because I studied with him when he first moved out here. This is long before David Lee Roth and all that stuff.
Wow. And
he's the same guy today as he was back then when I would take lessons and up in Woodland Hills. He is the exact same guy, and he literally is one of the nicest cats in the business. I wish, you know, if the business was all full of Greg Bissonettes, we'd have a much more pleasant time with it.
If the business was all Greg Bissonettes, we'd never have anybody to come on our show. I'm just being real, Chris. Just being real. No, I say this, okay, because I asked him for an interview at NAMM, and he didn't say no, but he kind of big-timed me, dude, if I'm being honest.
Well, you know why? Because here's the other thing. He, amongst being, you know, one of the nicest guys in the business, he is literally one of the busiest guys I know. When everybody else is going, man, I don't know the work, that guy, quite frankly, I don't know how he does it. If he's not doing a session, if he's not preparing for a gig, if he's not out on tour, he's teaching.
Wow.
Very, very rarely does he have a full day off free.
Wow.
It's crazy. Quite frankly, I don't know how he does it and not go insane as far as, you know, because he's literally going from one thing to the next, and it's it's incredible. But maybe
That's
I
cool.
can work on it a little bit and say, hey, you got to go do the Drum Brigade.
Yeah, man. If you know what's good for you. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, I would actually love. I wanted to have an interview with him, but he was just like, "No, come back tomorrow at 3." And I was like, "I don't have that kind of time, bro. I got Chris Brady to talk to, you know."
Yeah, you gotta get that Chris Brady podcast in there.
Man.
Lord knows, right? Yeah. So what do you want to know?
So
there's really, quite frankly, there's nothing exciting to tell. But what?
Yeah, well, okay. So Funky Phil and I are both Aquarian artists. Phil is a new Aquarian artist. Oh yeah. He's so excited.
Welcome to the family, Funky.
Man,
Thank you.
he's so excited, dude. He's running in circles. He can't contain himself.
Yeah.
We ought to just call Phil double P squared.
Yeah.
Because it's Funky PH.
Yeah.
Phil PH.
Yeah. Yeah.
So instead of T square, P square.
So we know you as the guy that we contact. You know, if we're leaving on tour or we need something, we know you as the artist rep guy that's like, "Hey, Chris, how's it going, man? You're our best friend. Can we get some stuff?" You know, but like, what do you really do? Like, you're the one who accepts the artist, right? You're like, when people apply to be an artist of Aquarian, you're the guy that says, okay, if you know, correct me if I'm wrong.
You are very correct. We're a smaller company, and so we don't have tons of tiers of management and departments. And yeah, I mean, you both you guys have been here, and you know, and so I guess what I'm saying is everybody here wears a lot of different hats. We don't have the luxury of, oh, I'm in this department and I only do this, right? It's like being a drummer today.
Right.
Very rarely can you be a successful musician and go, oh, no, man, I just, my thing is just polkas, or I just do heavy metal.
Exactly.
I mean, that's cool, but that's a little scary. As you know, we have to diversify.
That's what Phil does.
I do whatever gigs I can do, and also I try to engineer and produce or run sound or do podcasts or whatever.
Right.
And so we're the same way here. So we all have a myriad of responsibilities and things that we tackle. Artist relations is one of my key roles here at Aquarian, but I also work with I don't know what you call them, the chain stores.
Okay.
So Sam Ash, Sweetwater, Guitar Center Musicians Friend. I'm involved with that. I'm involved with all the export accounts. Other than Latin America, we have a gentleman here named Jesus Estrada, and he handles all the Latin American countries. But other than that, I work with Ron Marquez, and we handle all the export. So I'm involved. Well, you know, there's not much I'm not involved with, and I don't mean that in an arrogant way. It's just so trade shows and you know, marketing and product ideas, and it's just the whole gamut, everything here. And quite frankly, it gets a little overwhelming at times, I'll admit, but I do enjoy it because I understand it allows me to understand a bigger picture of the company, and it's interesting. You know, kind of like if you guys know playing drums, if you just had to play one, and maybe some guys enjoy that, but for me, if I had to just play one style of drumming or one of music only, I'd go cuckoo.
Yeah.
You know, I like, okay, sometimes you might play a country thing, and then next thing, maybe you have to get pushed into playing a little bit of swing, even if that's not your wheelhouse. And next thing, you play some old school disco, and then maybe something a little heavier. And to me, that's fun, right? And that's kind of how I view it here at Aquarian. There's a lot of different genres, and I don't mind dipping into a little bit of each one.
Phil exclusively plays disco. It's just like bases his whole career on that.
You know what? That's fine by me because I've been delving into some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I love it. So as a matter of fact, I was just thinking yesterday, I was listening to I don't even know if it's really disco per se, but a little disco-ish, but like that Frankie Valli, they did a remake. Oh What a Night.
Oh yeah.
Listen to the drums on that and the bass.
Yeah, that's that.
I want to know who played drums on that.
That's a weird feel to that song too. That
it's a
that
great feel.
Cool.
Listen to that.
Yeah.
Or that song, Oh What a Lonely Boy. Or who played drums on the Pina Colada song, The Escape? Rupert Holmes.
Dude, I have no idea.
Drums on that. Go back and when we're done, listen to the drums, and you start thinking like, is that Gad?
I bet it's Bernard Purdy's, dude.
It could be.
It could be.
So I love all that old school stuff because it's there's some really cool drumming on that.
That's cool. So aside from
pockets are deep.
Aside from Aquarian, you play out a lot. Do you like you play?
No, not really, not anymore.
Okay.
A little bit now and then with some buddies, but quite frankly, the things that go on here keep me busy enough.
Yeah.
And I have 2 daughters, and I like to be involved with what's going on with them and spend time with them as well. So between that and work, there's plenty to do. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think my head would explode if I had to go out and play a couple, 3 nights a week.
Yeah.
And then part of me is like, if it's a Friday night, then you got to think, okay, we're going to go into this bar, and now I got to deal with this jerky manager guy, and then some drunk person is going to come up and say, "Do you guys know?" Or can I touch your drums?
Exactly. Can I touch them?
Cymbal? And then somebody falls on your drums because they jump on stage,
and
then they fall into your drums, and then the manager's like, "When are you guys going to start?" And then it's the tear down, and we've all been through this, right? So part of me always thinks, nah.
Welcome to our life.
Relax, dude. Friday night.
Dang,
man. Funky Phil has a technical question for you.
Oh yeah,
lay it on me.
Okay, so you guys just unleashed the new white reflectors. Are they called reflector ice? Is that what?
Ice white reflectors.
Ice white reflectors.
What a name.
So I'm just curious about them. So they're a 2-ply head, just like the black reflectors, right?
Yes. So both the black and white reflectors, the bottom ply is a 10 mil laminate mylar. So either white or black. So it's a slightly different material, a little bit stiffer, right, in feel, and then the top on both of those is a clear 7 mil. So it's got a unique thing. It's got an interesting feel, a unique feel, and it definitely has a sound. And I would characterize it because it's on the thicker end of the 2-ply. It's definitely not dead. We're not getting into oil-filled territory here, but it gives you a nice, controlled, quick tone. There is some sustain, but that sustain tends to get out of the way very quickly. So for a guy like Eric Moore, that's perfect because a lot of times he's playing some very dense, fast stuff with a lot of notes. And quite frankly, you don't want all these hanging tom notes in there, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's great if you're just playing, big floor tom fill on 4, and you want that thing just to go boom.
Yeah.
But if you're playing a lot of notes, you may not necessarily want that. So that's kind of what both of those heads do: the black reflector and the ice white.
Is that just a aesthetic thing, the different colors, or is that like they?
Well, that's more aesthetic.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the white version was actually first. Like if you look at that original Eric Moore video where he was in the parking lot pulling the drums out of the car, I think what was on those drums were prototype white reflectors.
Oh, okay.
And we just went with the black first because it looked more unique, and I think that was all the rage too. And I still think that's true today. People really seem to love black heads. I mean, we do great with the DeJohnette heads. That's black texture coated.
Yeah. And
we offer that in the Response too. And a lot of guys just dig that a black head all the way around on their kit.
That's cool.
But then we just decided to do. Eric would still from time to time play the white versions, and we decided to we might as well. We were getting asked, do you do those in white? And of course we sure do. So we just kind of officially launched it, this NAMM show, and we shot a series of videos with Eric on an ice rink.
That's cool. That's cool. When I was at the Aquarian artist party, he was in there slaying on those drums in the room. And but man, the 16-inch with those heads on him, that 16-inch was like was killer, man. It sounded so good.
That was thunder. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And what's cool about in thicker heads in general, you can tune them looser, you can tension them looser without them getting papery.
Yeah.
Yeah, your heads have tone without them even being on a drum.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
I use Force 10s on my floor toms, 14 and 16, and it's like my 16 is basically finger tight. And
same thing. You can finger tight them and it just goes goosh.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah. We actually have a sample of Eric playing those heads. And you can just hear the tone. It's just the tone. Yeah.
What did he?
I'm pretty sure that's not Eric.
No, that's him. Here it is.
I think he had that was Jeff Endyke. We have
it's Jeff Endyke. Yeah, sorry.
Corey has all these samples of that dude playing.
There goes my career.
I think he had the hydraulics on those.
Jeff Endyke?
I will plead the fifth. I'm familiar whom of you speak.
That was definitely not Aquarian drum heads on those drums.
Yeah. No, I think after two notes I could tell that wasn't Eric.
Oh, sorry.
I'm pretty sure.
I hit the wrong button.
I'm pretty sure I could tell that wasn't Gad or Eric or Vinny or... Yeah. I didn't know who it was, but I knew it wasn't those guys.
That tone.
The tone, though. Sorry, man. I hit the wrong button, man. That's just not, dude. My gosh. No, man. Like those, they sound much, those heads sound much better when Eric is playing them compared to when I'm playing them, but they sound really good, man. They sound really good.
Yeah, well, Eric's one of those guys that most of the time, guys like that, things always sound better when they play them than when you play them, right? Like if back in the day, when I'd go see Jeff Porcaro or Gad or Carlos Vega, I'm sure if I'd sat down on that kit, I would have just sounded like horrible me. Like, you know what I mean?
I think we all think that.
Those guys, and it's the same thing with guitar players, right? At a certain level, those people like that, Eric Clapton could pick up any guitar, or Jeff Beck, and you're going to go, oh, that's Jeff Beck. That's Eric Clapton.
Right.
You don't need their guitar or David Gilmour, right? They just pick up the guitar and you go, oh, that's Gilmour from Floyd, right? Or whoever. Same thing with drums. You're just like, doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be Gad's kit. He just sits down and you go, yep, that's
him.
Gad.
Yeah, totally. What's your preference?
Meanwhile, if I sit down and play on a kit, somebody's like, who's that? Chris who? What? Next.
Dude, that's how I feel.
As my daughter would say, that's a hard pass.
I doubt that's true, but we all say the same thing. Like we're always
our own worst critic.
We're our own worst critic. What's your preference on drumheads? Like if you're, like we all, I'm just now kind of finding my voice on like, this is my sound. This is what I prefer to use on my drums. This is what's versatile enough for me. What's your go-to?
Yeah, my personal preference, because I hit solidly, but I wouldn't say I'm a super hard hitter.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the frequencies when I would play, the frequency of playing and how I would hit, I was okay. I could get by just fine with the single ply head. So I would use our texture or single ply texture coated on, because when I first started here, I was still playing a little bit doing top 40, but so I would use our single ply texture coated, sometimes the single ply vintage, and I really love the Dijonets.
Oh yeah, I like
So
those.
I'd use the Dijonets on the toms and stuff a lot. Now recently, I was always a Super Kick 1 guy. Always. And then we came out with the Super Kick 10.
Yeah.
So like I skipped the Super Kick 2 completely. I passed go, do not go to jail, right? I jumped right to the heaviest Super Kick we make, the Super Kick 10, and that's my new favorite.
Same.
And one of our artists, is a buddy of mine, Stevie D, plays with David Gilmour and tons of artists. He always used the Force bass drum heads, and he just got turned on to the Super Kick 10.
Wow.
And that's his new favorite. He goes, I can't believe I never used this before. And I'm like, right?
I was so reluctant on that. I just got one. So I was a Super Kick 2 guy since the 90s, since I was really young. And,
which is our most popular.
Yeah.
That's one of the favorites.
And I got so used to that I was like scared to try anything else. But a couple of the guys were like, dude, try the Super Kick 10. And I was like, I'm not a metal drummer, man. I don't know. Dude, I use that with a pillow in my kick, and it still is like...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I love it. So I got to try some different variations of like pillow, no pillow, felt, or whatever. But I've been going with that all along. It sounds better when it's mic'd. I noticed that it's quieter with a pillow in there than a...
Yeah, I would think with a pillow, that mic would probably... You could get away with that. I think if you were at a club... unmiked and you were just trying to punch through on a top 40 gig, that and a pillow could be a little... I remember one, because like I said, I was always a Super Kick 1 guy, regulator on the front. And sometimes I had the guys make a Super Kick regulator. So when I was still playing out, I would take a smooth white or smooth blackhead. I'd have the guys put a Super Kick ring on there and port it.
Whoa.
But anyways, I remember one time I was at this club and the manager was always a little frosty. And we were playing, and there was no miking in this club because it wasn't a huge club. It was big enough. I remember I watched him walk all the way from the back of his office to the front, stand in front of my bass drum and stare at it. And he looked at me. And then after the song was in, he goes, where's the mic? I go, there's no mic. And he goes, you're killing me. He goes, I can hear that thing all the way in the back of the club in my office. There's no mic in there. I go, no, it's just his bass drum head. He couldn't believe it. And he was so like flabbergasted because he was sure it was mic'd and being cranked in the PA, right? He was so messed up. He didn't even, this is one time he didn't say anything. He just kind of, after I said, no, it's no mic, it's just a bass drum head, he just looked at me and turned and walked back. He had nothing.
That's awesome.
The Super Kick silenced him.
Yeah, it's perfect. Well, that's cool, man. Like, that me and Phil are kind of
and
biased.
I'm like, yeah, that's right. You better get walking.
Exactly. You should have kicked it one more time as he's walking.
You better
away.
move along, pal.
All right. Well, let's move on.
Wait.
Oh, sorry, Phil. All right, go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh,
I'm really interested in, because you guys have the reflector Super Kick now, right?
Yes.
So
basically it's the reflect. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I was just wondering, like, how would you compare that to like a normal Super Kick 2?
So I would put that, technically it's in between the Super Kick 2 and the Super Kick 10, but I would actually put it past the Super Kick 10, not thickness-wise, but because of that, remember, as I said before, that 10 mil laminate Mylar is a little stiffer. It reacts a little differently. So, and this could be all personal preference, but in my mind, it's a little heavier feeling than the Super Kick 10 even.
Wow.
Now, technically, it's thinner, but feel-wise and sound-wise, I'd put it on the end of the spectrum, past the Super Kick 10. But that could just be me. What do I know? I like to walk backwards and rub meatloaf in my hair. Take that all with a grain of salt. But.
Oh my gosh!
Oh man.
Okay,
hey, lady.
All right, that is a perfect point to transition. We are going to move on to our question of the day and then the Wheel of Death. We're going to try not to make it long because we've already had you on for a while. You're a busy guy,
Hey, you can never get enough of me.
Nope.
All right, here we go.
Drum Brigade Podcast.
Oh man. All right, our question of the day, or our topic of the day. We've gotten on this before, but it's more of a soapbox for me. But this is or my soapbox is, we call my rants soapboxes. So I have rants all the time. But when we started Drum Brigade, and we had some Drum Brigade products, and we still have some, but like we were doing student drumsticks and all this stuff. I would have so many people hit me up and just be like, "Yeah, I really like your sticks, man. They look great." And then the next question, "So do you guys do an artist program? You guys do endorsements?" And it's like, our industry has kind of gotten to where everybody wants everything for free, or everybody wants something, even though they don't really have much to offer on their end. They want for some reason, everybody in our drum community or our industry thinks that everything is just free. Like, everybody's just making this stuff for, you to have. So
companies are in existence just to solely for the artist and to provide free gear. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
You meaning the company isn't there to make products for everybody and support the families and the people that work at the company. They're strictly there solely for the artist. Right.
And also, everybody in our industry is an artist. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like, I've gone on rants on like, man, like, I'm not like, I know I'm not like an A-level guy with millions of followers, and I have played arenas and stuff like that, but I'm not leaving tomorrow on an arena tour. But I do some touring. My full-time job is music, playing gigs, and we have our hands in a lot of other stuff with the podcast and teaching and all that stuff. So like, there is a level of support that we benefit from. Like, if I'm leaving on tour and I need a full set of heads, it is a huge benefit for me to contact you guys and be like, "Hey, I'm leaving this week," and I've done it before, and then I show up there and there's a box waiting for me, or there's a box at my door before and it's everything that I need. And that's huge. A lot of people don't really view it like that. And then along with that, I have a lot of people and students and all kinds of people all the time like, "Hey man, what kind of snare head is that? What kind of, heads do you use? What kind of this, what kind of that?" And aside from promotion on the show and all that stuff, then you have like random guys that are just like, "Cool, man. Yeah, I want to get these heads or whatever. So like, what's my cost on that?" they're just nobodies. They're just, I don't know what. So anyways, I want to get your thoughts on that, what you have to deal with, and what your thoughts are on endorsements. Who should be getting endorsements? Like, the word endorsements. Like, yeah, go.
Yeah, this could literally be another hour,
right?
At least. Roy talked about this subject, and there's podcasts where Roy has gotten into endorsements. And, listen, back in the day, in Roy's day, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's no internet, but the two things really had to happen, and one didn't really happen without the other. You had to already kind of be a marquee mega drummer, established guy. So think of Gene Krupa, Buddy Rich, Louis Bellson, Max Roach, Elvin, Tony, all these kind of guys, right? And in conjunction with that, you had to be in a great situation. You couldn't, so you didn't ever hear about a high level talent and then go, "Well, who's he playing with?"
Right.
Is he out with Woody or Benny or the Dorsey brothers? No, he just plays in his basement. It'd be like, what?
Exactly.
So those things had to coexist, right? And also, what Roy told me back in the day, drummers didn't go to companies seeking gear. Companies would seek out a Buddy Rich or a Louie and go, "Hey, come play our stuff."
Right.
So all that, with the advent of more companies, more manufacturers making cymbals and sticks and heads and kits and you name it, right? Also back in the day, there wasn't a plethora of these things, right? There was only Zildjian,
right?
And then at some point Zildjian and Sabian and Paiste, and now there's probably I've lost count. There's well over 20 cymbal companies out there doing things. Same thing with sticks. There wasn't all these stick companies, and there wasn't all these drum set companies, right? Back in the day, what was it? It was Ludwig and Slingerland and I don't know what else. Then, Rogers and some of these other things started, in Gretsch. But now you probably have, I couldn't count, especially with all the boutique drum makers.
Yeah.
So, and they all, like Roy said, and they all need artists. So the floodgates started to open up. And then at some point it became less, the playing didn't matter, right? In the 80s, at some point it wasn't what level of player you were at, because think of MTV as the precursor to the internet.
Right.
That changed everything. It didn't matter. You're not at a level of a Buddy Rich or a Louie or these guys. That didn't matter. It's like, oh, you're on MTV. This is the new thing that's everybody's watching and resonating with people. You're on MTV 7 days a week with a hit video, and maybe you're just genre specific, which is fine, because those guys were genre specific, right? Well, rock and roll and all that other stuff didn't exist, but so then you had that whole era, and now we're into the social media era, and you have to, companies have to adapt and change with the times. It's not your father's way of doing things anymore, and you have to change and adapt because things are just different. And if you don't, you're going to get rolled over. You're going to get left behind. And we were a little late to the social media party. I think we have an amazing team now of people here and people at Paradigm, which is our social media marketing team. They're phenomenal. And we've definitely stepped the game up. And quite frankly, I will toot our horn. I think we've really pushed things.
Yeah.
Because we're actually, in a way, we're telling stories and we're making little movies. A lot of companies, and we do the same thing. You repurpose content. You can't create all your content. So a lot of times you're regramming or reposting or sharing or using content. But a lot of companies, when they do make content, it's just, here's a video of some guy playing cymbals or whatever, or a kit, and here's music, and this is what he's using.
We talk about this all the time on our end.
If we look at I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. Yeah, I was just agreeing.
If you look at our video we did with Joe LaBarbera or Eric, the video we did with Joe LaBarbera, we did that at Pro Drum Shop. We're telling a story. It's almost like cinema. We're making these little movies about the arts, not just like, here's our drumheads, and here's a guy playing them, and this is what he uses, and go out and buy it. We're trying to give you an insight and create some interest in the way we deliver the content about what the drummer's all about. And we did that with Joe LaBarbera. We did that with Toss Panos. Right? We've done that with Mike Johnston, where we go up to his facility. So I think we're putting out there some really interesting content, but you have to adapt to all that. And unfortunately, that means, well, not unfortunately, that's not the right choice of words, but that means you have to understand, the landscape that you're in, and that means you're going to get involved with younger people now. Here's some 12-year-old kid who's playing out of his gourd. He's out of his mind. It's just incredible. Has he done a big gig? No. Has he proven himself on the field of battle yet? No. Has he made it to the Super Bowl? No. But in the landscape we're at, he's getting, 100,000 views, 200,000 views, maybe 1 million, right? And not only is he getting the views, but he's resonating with people,
right?
Or she, or whoever. So it's like, well, that's cool, but man, that really sounds good. That equipment sounds good. I'm going to check out that cymbal.
Right.
I might check out that snare he's using. What heads are those? Because really that's the holy grail you're looking for. You're looking for somebody that is resonating with people, but then past that, views is one thing, and that's great, but views doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to be interested in going out and buying what you're manufacturing.
Right.
Those two things don't always go hand in hand. And that's what artists get confused about too, going back to the endorsement, back around to what you were saying, they don't understand that sometimes, well, I've got millions of views and that could be cool, but if that doesn't generate interest in your product, then that doesn't do any good.
Yeah.
Necessarily. Like a guy like Eric Moore generating tons of interest, right? Social media, crazy. And I mean, generating tons of views, right?
Right.
Like that, the first video we did with him is in the millions.
Wow.
Like on one Facebook page, it's 14 million.
Oh my God. 14
million.
That's insane.
Now, I don't know. At that point, that's just gone super viral because I don't even know if there's 14 million drummers.
Exactly.
On that level, you just know people are watching it multiple times and they're sending it to their grandmother or their mom, like, "Hey, check this guy out." But that's what you want. You want that level of viewer eyeballs, but you also want it where people go, "Wow, those reflectors sound great. I need to go pick up a set of those. Those Zildjian cymbals or Meinl or whatever, they sounded amazing. I got to go buy that ride cymbal."
Right.
Because one without the other, that's really what you're looking for. Because as much as companies want to make products for drummers to, help them do what they do best, at the end of the day, we subsist off of sales. My family and everybody's family here, we eat and grow and are able to do more things for ourselves and our family if we're selling. And I know that sounds kind of harsh and mercenary, but most companies aren't in it strictly altruistically. We're not in it strictly just for the art.
Right.
Because I wouldn't be able to eat if I was in it just... And let's face it, most drummers and musicians aren't in it strictly for the art, right? Everybody needs to get paid.
Well, I think that's the missing link here, is that this is supposed to generate, at the end of the day, it's supposed to generate either sales or like a marketing angle for a company to a certain extent. Now, like, obviously, like, I don't think Phil and I are like a huge, like, being Aquarian artists, it doesn't make us, we're not heading up the marketing department of Aquarian, with our videos. But what I mean to say is a lot of these drummers, specifically, I feel like specifically drummers, it's less about the relationship with the company. It's even sometimes not even about their product. It's just a status thing of being like, yeah, I'm endorsed, and it doesn't matter who is handing them out. I just need to collect endorsements, dude. You see these guys walking around NAMM show with their backpacks on and they're, they're just looking for companies to like pay attention to them and give them something.
Well, they think it's going to fulfill. It's like Tombstone, the movie Tombstone. They think it's going to like fulfill or fill that deep dark void within their soul.
Right.
Like, if I get this thing, then I'll be a complete person.
Right.
Like Roy would always say, "We can't make you famous." No, it's not.
Exactly.
I mean, and I think half of it is the thrill of the chase, right?
Yeah.
And hey, we're all that way. Like, I get into stuff, whether it's watches or pocket knives and thing, and I go down rabbit holes, and half of it is the research and the thrill and the hunt. And sometimes when you actually get the thing, the getting there was the funnest, best part. Exactly. And then when you got it, you're like, well, okay.
Now what do I do?
Now what do I do with it? And I think it's like that with endorsements. Guys are so, I gotta get with the cymbal company, and
right.
And they become obsessed. And if I don't get it, I'm not a complete person. And then they get it, and I'm not sure what they think was gonna happen.
Yeah.
If immediately, all of a sudden, the company was gonna throw gear at them and have them down to make a video and put them in an ad. But generally, all that stuff doesn't happen.
Right.
And then they realize at the end of the day, they're no farther along in their career. It hasn't,
That's the thing.
They're still them.
They got to chase that, like, that fulfillment in their career, like moving forward. Set goals for yourself, like as a drummer, not as like a endorsement collector. Like put that energy into making yourself better and more marketable, and like then those things will come. But also, I always feel like drummers, I had to go through this too. You know, when I was a younger drummer, it was like I just needed help because I was touring a lot, and it's expensive, man, when you're like, you know, a 20-year-old kid touring, you know, and you have to buy bricks of sticks. It's like, dude, I'm just trying to find somebody that will give me something at cost so I don't have to spend all my tour money on that, you know, like, but you
that was interesting. The endorsement collector. I was thinking, like, wasn't that guy on the Guardians of the Galaxy movie or something? I'm the endorsement collector. Oh, I haven't had one. I don't have one of you in my collection.
Exactly.
There is something about, well, you know, and this is part of the eulogy I delivered too, and this message I said was, and what Roy always said, you know, guys get too wrapped up in all this stuff, and he would always tell me or other guys that would come in, he goes, you know what? You're getting ahead of yourself. Just put the music first.
Exactly.
If you put the music first, if you're doing the quality work, if you're doing the gigs, and you've put in your homework, and you're playing the instrument right, and you put the music first, then all this other stuff will follow, and it'll make sense. Companies you know, you can accuse companies of this too, getting involved with artists. Is we put the cart before the horse sometimes. Mm-hmm. But I think musicians do this quite frequently, where they're preoccupied with all this other stuff, and it's like, if you put that energies into putting the music first, you know, like I was telling you earlier, that Weckl thing, and he was talking about, man, I was practicing 10 hours a day. A teenage Dave Weckl, or even a Dave Weckl in his early 20s, wasn't running around worrying about endorsements. He was spending time honing his craft, right? Mm-hmm. And trying to get the gigs, and that eventually led to all this stuff, as opposed to, I'm a really great player, and that may be true, but now I got to have all this stuff. No, just be a great player. Start doing the gigs, get your name out there, do the work, you know, get a history, and then the endorsement will make sense, and it'll mean more, and a company will be able to do more for you or more with you at that point.
Well, and that's the thing that's what I was saying is, like, eventually you kind of figure out what your sound is and what you're looking for, you know, looking to get out of your drums or out of your sound as an artist. That's what makes you an artist. Like, when I was younger, I loved the way Dave Weckl's drums sounded, and I loved the way his cymbals sounded, and all, or like Steve Gadd, just his, like, on that Buddy Rich Memorial thing, I was like, his ride cymbal and his drums sound so good. That's his sound. And then that made me want to go out and get like a dark K ride because he had one, you know, and it sounded great.
Exactly.
And so sooner or later you start figuring out, like, hey, this is what I sound like. Whether I have to pay full price or not, this is what I'm going to use because this is me. I feel like,
I mean, how many 8-inch toms did Weckl sell?
Right, exactly.
We all had to have one, or piccolo snares. Stewie Copeland, right, or even Weckl. We all had to have. Even though I don't think Stewart really used piccolos, he just cranked the heck out of them.
Right.
But we all, in our minds, had to have splash cymbals.
Exactly.
Tight snares or piccolo snares, right? And those were all because of those guys.
Right. And so that's what I feel like, especially like more than anything else, these guys are like losing touch of, this is me. This is what I sound like. I don't want to play, or I do want to play these drums because this is what I sound like. And it's like, coincidentally, I'm one of these artists, you know, like, or I'm going for this company and it's amazing that they're helping me out. But like, it's less about that and less of just more about, I want this stuff because I want it for free, or they're giving me a deal on it. You know, it's so weird. It's so backward. I think we're like,
well,
the only
in a perfect world, really, you should see, and Roy said this many, many times, you should seek out the gear that you truly already play or enjoy playing. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have your mind changed at some point or your taste changed, but truthfully, so if you're really have played Zildjian your whole life and you love it, and all your heroes play Zildjian, and you think that's your vibe, then don't settle on something else.
Exactly.
Don't go, well, I'll play, whatever, insert other company symbol in there because I can get that right now, even though in my heart of hearts, I'm really a Zildjian guy.
Right.
In a perfect world, that would not happen. But, everybody's got to make their own choices in their own path and do what they think is right. But yes, you're right. You really should be playing what you really love.
Exactly. So if anybody wants an endorsement, they just email you and then you just hook it up, right? Cool. I'll send the number.
Email me at Corey@drumbrigade.com.
That's awesome. Chris, we've had you on for the amount of time that we said we were going to have you on. Can you stay on for like 5 or 10 more minutes?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Drum Brigade.
Yes. Okay, unfortunately, I think we have to skip the Wheel of Death today.
Drum Brigade.
I'm relieved.
He's relieved, Felky Phil. The Wheel of Death is fun, but it's just nonsense questions. So we have to, we've talked about some really like seriously good stuff though with your interview, which is better than the Wheel of Death, Funky Phil.
Yeah.
All right. We do have to talk about this contest that we have going on, for the Drum Brigade with Aquarian Drumheads. Please,
awesome.
I would love it right now if he was like, "What contest? We're giving what? What do you mean?" Like, so we're doing this. We're trying to head up this like contest of people. We're trying to grow our show here. And it is working. Like our show is growing and it's really cool. But now we're starting to reach out to some of our like endorsements or whatever you want to call it, people that we work with, companies that we work with. But we wanted to specifically reach out to companies that we support, we use, we trust, we work with, all that stuff. Because we consider, all the stuff that we use to be the best.
It is.
So, I don't want to give away like other people's stuff that I'm
You're
not
men
like,
of discernment and good taste.
Exactly.
Less.
So we have a contest going on for people to give us reviews on our show, and on our iTunes and all that stuff. And people are doing it, and it's working out really great. So we wanted to just talk to you about it a little bit more. Aquarian has been so kind to come on board and help us out with that. We're thrilled. We can't thank you guys enough. So can you tell us about that? What are you guys going to be giving to our listeners, to one lucky listener that is going to be getting something for leaving us a review?
That is a great question.
We're giving away a date with Eric Moore. It's like crazy, dude. I'm so glad he's man. Yeah. I'm just kidding. Whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, wait. Sorry. Okay. I got too excited there. I got too excited. So we don't really know. Like we just know that you guys were like, yeah, we'll help you guys out. And, but then that's as far as we got. So we're looking for more.
We could do whatever you want, basically. So now I'm gonna mess your scene up.
Okay.
Because I don't really know what exactly your giveaway is, but you could have a few different winners. So there could be a grand prize winner, and he could win a whole set of reflectors, heads, outfit his whole kit of his choice.
Whoa.
There could be a second winner, maybe gets a super kick and a regulator, and a third winner could get a practice pad.
Dude,
that sounds awesome.
we'll just go with that, all right?
Now, I don't know if that messed your thing up, but,
we're going to have to probably do something.
As Snoop Dogg would say, groovy like a drive-in movie.
Yeah, dude, that is, so what we're going to have to do is something special for, like, a like outfit kit of heads. And then maybe for the review, we'll do like a bass drum head. And
there you go. Perfect.
Yeah, because that's pretty. We were thinking like a practice pad would be cool. But I mean, I'm not trying to sell our listeners short. That's like, this is what I'm talking about, guys. We we use good stuff, and it's from good people. That's all.
Aquarian and the Drum Brigade bring the heat.
Yeah,
you're a legend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Man, Chris, that is amazing. Like, maybe me and Phil could win. We'll just put our names in.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, that's okay. So we're gonna work that out. We're gonna set that up. We're gonna create an even better thing from like an even better contest with Aquarian for that first prize thing, and then the I can't even talk right now. I'm beside myself, Funky Phil. That's huge.
Yes,
it's huge.
That's huge.
So yeah, dude, thank you so much for that. That is like there's way like more than what we expected, and our listeners
you're not
going
to faint or anything, are
No,
you?
I really love Aquarian, and like I
You
can't
don't
wait
have
to
the
throw.
vapors or the consumption. You're
It's
going to
be
okay.
like the drum roll, please pull the name out. What, Corey Kingston? What the heck? Oh, I guess I gotta take it. Oh wait.
Oh,
Yeah. So
how did this happen?
That's amazing. Man, Chris, thank you so much for coming on. And
Funky Phil's cooking the books.
Sorry we couldn't do the
thank
Wheel
you.
of Death, but we're gonna do that with you next time.
Oh, darn. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for asking me to do it. I'm thrilled to have been a part of it, and thank you both, Funky Phil,
Thank you.
Corey.
If people want to get in touch with Aquarian Drumheads, it's just aquariandrumheads.com, correct?
It's info at
Info.
aquariandrumheads.com.
Okay, if you want to reach out, make sure you hit the subscribe button on all the social, all that stuff. You can watch crazy videos.
Subscribe, link
Eric Moore.
below. Hit the bell if you want notifications.
Yeah, exactly. Chris, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Have a great week.
You too.
Me too.
All right, take care.
Drum Brigade.
Dude, can you believe that?
That was awesome.
I can't believe that Aquarian is coming through that hard for Drum Brigade, dude.
Dude, a full set of reflectors.
Can you believe that? I can't believe that.
Man, I bet they're hoping James doesn't win.
Exactly, dude.
Dude, he's got so many drums.
Dude, freaking Terry Bozzio is like, can I put my name in? Dude, I just...
Well, yeah, we might have to do a separate one just for that grand prize.
No, we're gonna have to. That's a little bit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is that's insane. Like I know I'm. Maybe it sounds like I'm like overreacting. I'm not though. That's a big deal. That's like first of all, for a company that reputable or that known to just come on board with us is saying a lot about
huge.
Our show. That's really cool. It's helping me to see the vision, to see the light that this show is growing, and brings a tear to my eye. No, man, that's really cool. Chris is a great guy, man. He's a dude we talk to, hang out with quite a bit when we go up to Aquarian. He always takes the time to just hang out with us.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when we go there to pick up heads or whatever, he'll like take the time to just hang out, and we're not even talking about drums. Like, we're not talking about heads. We're not talking about anything. We're just talking about, last time I was there, he's like, oh, you drive a Mazda? He's like, I just got a Mazda. And he's like, here, sit in it. You have to sit in it. No, you have to try it. And I'm like, oh man, thanks. And he's just like, we're just talking about Mazdas for like, 20 minutes or something. He's like, and then this thing does this. It has a USB port where you can put all your music in right there. And he's just like talking about random stuff.
Dude, he's so funny too. We got we got to get him on again and run through the funny questions.
I know,
with
man.
him,
I wish we had.
He is so funny.
I wish we had time to do the Wheel of Death, man. I'm sorry that we didn't, guys, but we try to keep on our schedule of like, we're only going to keep our guests on for 1 hour, and it's timed out. And that's out of respect for them, because he's busy, dude. He's working.
Wearing many hats,
as he said. So I don't want to be like 30 minutes later. So Predator or Terminator or whatever, like, what's your last meal? Like, I want to be like respectful of what they're saying and respectful of their time. So it just means we'll just have to have him on again. I would love to have him and some of the other people at Aquarian on to chat, have a roundtable discussion about Roy Burns and just tell stories. That would be that
would be rad.
That would be a dope show, a Roy Burns episode. I feel like as Aquarian artists and like as teachers and as drummers, I feel like we owe it to Roy Burns to do that, his legacy.
Totally.
Because that dude was he was the real deal. Like, he's what we all still aspire to be. So, man, so dope. So stoked to have Chris on board. That was a great interview, and so incredibly stoked to have. I feel stupid saying stoked all the time.
Well, you're stoked.
I'm so from California, man. Like, I don't sound like how I look. I was listening to our episodes, and I'm like, I sound like a straight up surfer white guy.
I mean, you do ride a surfboard to your gigs.
And wear board shorts. I don't. Dude, I say like, and I say stoked because I'm born and raised from California. I'm not a Southern black guy. I'm a California black guy. And besides that, I'm Puerto Rican. So,
and you ride dirt bikes.
I used to. I don't anymore. I'm a tall black person that talks like a pure California white guy. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I'm sorry for all you people that are just offended by the way I talk. I'm just trying to be me, you know? Just trying to be me. Just trying to be me, dude. I just grew up in California. What can I say? Okay, so once again, Chris, thanks for coming on. Thanks to the Aquarian family. Thanks for Aquarian for being like such the dopest
Drumhead
company in the world.
Everything dude, their super pads have changed my life.
Yeah. Somebody's gonna get one, Funky Phil.
A super pad?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those are great.
Somebody's gonna get one, and then somebody else is gonna get a stinking super kick reflector. What is it called? A reflector kick drum head?
I think he said a super kick.
Oh my gosh.
And then we'll have a special one. We'll cook up something special for that grand prize.
Yeah.
But that's coming too.
Dude, I can't believe that.
I kind of want to try the super kick reflector.
Me too. Because you're so metal, huh?
But it doesn't sound like my style though, usually.
It doesn't.
No.
You got a real John Bonham like sounding kick drum, huh?
But smaller. I like good attack and tone.
You like boomy kicks.
I like versatility.
Okay.
I don't like changing my heads per gig.
I don't think you would like my kick.
I don't want to have to put a different kick head on if I'm going to go play some like more jazzy type stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to tune it and take a pillow out.
I mean, that's my move. I feel like I went a little bit heavier on the pop kind of rocky kind of sound and less on the jazzier sound on my setup right now. And I freaking love it.
Your drums sound great.
I love it. The 10 and the 12 and the 14 and the 16 and the 22. They sound so good. But you know what, Funky Phil? Your toms sound good too, man.
Thank you.
You use that. What do you use again? Something single ply or something?
On my toms?
Yeah.
I use the Super 2s.
Super 2s?
Super 2.
Super 2s. It's like it's a
the 2
5 mil and a 7 mil?
I think so.
And I use a 7 mil and a 10 mil.
I think.
Yeah. I use a response 2 on the higher toms and then force 10s on this lower toms. And then a super kick 10 on the kick drum. They're amazing, man. It completely changed the way my drums sound. Completely. Made them so warm and good sounding. Milky sounding.
Yeah. No, your drums sound fantastic.
They sound better. They sound better mic'd up though. They're substantially quieter than I've said that before on the show. Why am I saying it again? But yeah, dude, I'm an Aquarian dude from here on.
Yeah.
I was a diehard Evans guy, and I'm not saying that those are bad heads.
I know.
Those are great heads.
I remember.
But man, am I an Evans guy. I mean, well, there went that.
There goes my career.
I'm a diehard Aquarian guy now. Did I tell you about the time I went to Aquarian and I was testing out heads and I had ProMark sticks? And they're like, Chris was like, what are those? And I'm like, what are what? And he's just like, what are those sticks? And I'm like, they're ProMarks, bro. Get off me. And then he's like, dude, we got to get you on Vic Firth. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, I would love to get on Vic Firth, except that their artist rep sucks.
Ooh.
No, that's no secret, dude. Everybody knows that dude sucks.
Brutal.
Their sticks are amazing. I'm like, if you could get me into Vic Firth, I would love to play Vic Firth. And he's like, well, we got to do something because Diodario is great and everything, but that's not us. And I'm like, you are right. And then I made Drum Brigade sticks. I don't have to deal with an artist rep, except everybody's probably like, yeah, the artist rep for Drum Brigade sticks, that guy's a jerk.
Dude, I can't even get sticks anymore.
Yeah, I got to get some. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I've just resorted to buying Haram sticks.
I mean,
even though those are great.
Those are great.
Those are incredible.
I need to get some more of those.
Funky Phil, I got one more for you.
Oh.
It's just a quick one.
I ain't trying to hear that right now.
It's a very quick one. It's a wrap-up one.
What's up?
I'm playing a gig this week with a band. Okay? The band saw a picture of me that I posted from the ska weekend that I went to.
The one with where you were sitting on a pool table?
Yes. And I'm dressed as ska as I can possibly be. I got the cute little hat and the skinny little tie and the suit on and sunglasses indoors. And I look like I'm just straight from the 60s. I'm a rude boy. Ska.
That was good. I did like it.
Thank you.
I double tapped and made the little heart happen.
Thank you for that. Okay, so that's cool. That's me. That's what I do. That's who I am. I like to think that that's my look, and sometimes when I want it to be. But that's me. That's my marketing angle. That's my product. That's who I am. I have a band that I work with. That's my band, and that's that look for that band. I don't like it when... This is a hard one to talk about because it's hard to explain. I don't like it when other people are like, okay, cool. We want to hire you for you, and we want you to look like that. That's fine, but I don't like it when I don't hold like a position in that band the way I should. So basically what I'm saying is I don't like it when you tell me to dress like that because there's going to be photos being taken. So basically, you're making my marketing angle now your marketing angle, but I don't really hold a strong position in your group.
They're just putting you on one gig?
No. Okay, so this is where it's hard because in this band, I do hold that position, but I'm talking about in other situations. Like, there's been situations that I've been in where they're like, you're not a regular drummer, but we're filming a video and we want you to be in the video. Can you be here at this time? And I'm like, I'm not in your band. Hire your drummer to do that. Yeah, but my drummer doesn't look like you.
What?
So I'm like, okay, well then I'm not your dude. You just dress him up.
I feel that whoever their drummer is should be pissed.
I'm like, you can hire me for that and pay me for that, but I'm not your guy unless you want to make me your guy. And I'm also not into stealing gigs.
Yeah.
Okay, so this situation is like that when I'm like, hey, I can't really do it. I have another gig, but I can make myself available for your gig. But you kind of got to match the fee that I'm getting on the other gig. It's never like that. It's always like, no, we'll just get somebody else. And then I don't know what guy you have on drums, but it's not bringing what I bring to the table. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I mean that in a way that's like, you're not putting a lot of, what is the word I'm looking for? Weight on my value. You're not valuing me except for when it's time to take a picture. Then you're like, I want you to wear that outfit and I want you to look like you because that's the look. We want your look. That's our look. Well, I put a lot of thought and effort into that. And that's why it's my look. And that's why you're like so hyped on it when you see a picture of me. But then when it comes time to like actually hire me in your band, it doesn't matter what the other sub drummer looks like. So that makes my value go down until it's time to take a picture. I'm not into that.
Yeah.
So now I have a dilemma of like, dude, do I dress up like that because they asked me to, or should I just show up in a Drum Brigade shirt?
Choices.
I don't know. It's like, am I in your band? I have my own band where I should be looking like that. And that's what separates my band from your band. That makes sense. I'm leaving a lot of holes in the story where it might not be connecting, but.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like either you should be cool with it and dress up or just don't do the gig.
See, that's where we're different. Because I need the gig. I want to do the gig.
Because they made their intentions clear, right? They're like, we want you very much because of this picture and your look.
Okay, so if I go, hey, I can't do it because I don't feel like I'm getting enough money, then it's going to be like, okay, well, we'll just hire Joe Schmo and he'll be wearing freaking whatever he wants. But I guess what I'm saying is it's more of I feel like I'm becoming a face of this band because of my look, because of the way I dress.
Yeah. Well,
and I also bring something more to the table as far as like playing the genre of music and playing it correctly. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like that's as important as like your look is the look of the band. But I'm not, this is not my band. So I don't want my look to be the look of your band. I want the look.
Is this like a new band or something?
I don't want to talk about what band it is, Funky Phil.
No, I don't know. I don't need to know. I'm just asking if it's like, did they just start?
No.
So they have an established look that just happens to be the same look as you?
I've done photos for this band before.
Uh-huh.
And what ends up happening is like I'm always in the front. And so it looks like my band. And it shouldn't be like that. But the problem is everybody else in the band doesn't really have a look, or they don't have the look for this style of music. So they're in oversized suits and they're in tennis shoes and the wrong hat. But the actual authenticity of this look is like me and maybe one other guy. And so they always put us in the front, like you guys have the look. We want you guys up front. But I may or may not be on all the gigs. And it's not my band. I have a band that like I would dedicate that look to.
Yeah.
It's a touchy subject, man.
It sounds like you need to have a heart-to-heart with them about this.
And so I've gotten called twice like, hey man, so that picture that you posted, we want you to wear that. That's the look. We need that. We're going to take pictures and I'm like, well, it's going to look stupid if I'm the only one dressed like that and everybody else looks like they're at a business meeting. Yeah. And he's like, no, I'm going to tell everybody to dress up. Well, nobody else knows how to dress up like that. Nobody else has like, it's freaking stupid. And so a lot of times when I'm in this situation, I'm like, you know what? I'm not your guy. Like you need to hire your guy for that. I think in this band, I am their guy. But like when I'm talking about like videos or photo shoots or whatever, it's like, I'm not your drummer, but why do you want me in the picture? Because I'm not on all the gigs. You don't throw me all the gigs. Let's have
the
some
solution. You need to have a special modeling rate because it sounds like some people will use you as a model.
Yeah, well.
Right? They take pictures of you for your look.
Yeah.
To sell their product.
I don't want to wear I don't want to wear that in the photos. I don't want to do it.
Well, don't do it then.
I don't want to be in the front.
You just got to put your foot down.
I think I need to be like, hey man, I don't really want to wear that. I know that's the look, but that's my look. That's not this band's look. And I also don't want to be in the front.
Yeah, or you could negotiate.
That's not going to happen.
Kind of compensation for being their like artistic director for their photo shoot.
Yeah, I just don't feel like I did in the past. I did want to.
Yeah. I
did want to be like, this is my band, but it's not. It's not my band. It's somebody else's band and I'm playing drums in it and I'm just a hired guy like everybody else. So why do I try so hard? Why do I have to complete the look? Why do I have to put like more effort into it than the other guys do? The other guys can't even read or play the songs.
Dang.
They can play a beat through the songs and like they don't add any color or texture to the tunes. And like I feel like I work really hard to do that. This is not a soapbox. This is a heart-to-heart, Phil.
Dang.
Anyways, I don't know what I'm going to do, man. I just need I don't know. I just need to be a team player and just wear the suit and call it a day.
Do whatever you'll be comfortable with.
That's not an answer, Funky Phil.
I ain't trying to hear that right now.
All right. Well, anyways, I'll probably just do what I do. I'll probably just wear what I wear and just be like, yeah, I'm down because I like playing in this band a lot. It's fun. I wish I could do it more often, but I wish that like...
it'll be a good promotion for yourself.
No,
too.
It isn't.
It's not?
Yeah, it is.
It is, right? It's just another
avenue
for people to discover the great Corey Kingston.
Here's what it is. I don't like being a selling point in this band when I may or may not be there, and it's not my band.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't like that when they say this guy is in this band, and so we want to hire your band because of who's in it and what you look like, and then when you call me to see if I'm available, and I'm like, hey, I already have a Schmucky Metals band gig that I don't want to play. I'd much rather play with your band, but I also need to make a living. I need you to be like, okay, well, dude, being that you add some like integrity to my band and you also add like a look and you're a selling point for me to get this band booked on dates, I'm going to give you what you need to make it happen. I know it's not that easy, but that's what I mean. That's where I have a hard time, where I'm like, don't use me like that. Just use me like Joe Schmo that you're going to use on drums. Because I'm not, at the end of the day, I'm not an equal partner on your band. I'm just a drummer, but you're using me to sell your product. I don't like that. Don't put me in the front.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you talked to them about?
I feel like I need to.
Your position, and it sounds like you need to. Yeah.
I always feel like I always get told you're getting called before everybody else. You're the first one that I call, which I appreciate. A lot of times he's like, I'm paying you more because you're traveling farther or you're bringing more stuff or whatever. And I appreciate that too. I don't appreciate I don't appreciate feeling like I'm taking money from other people. And I also don't feel like, I don't like losing money. Like I want to play with this band more than in a lot of the other bands, but I don't want to like take money from other musicians and I don't want to lose money from my other gig. Anyways, it's personal. I don't know. It is what it is, dude. It's not that big of a deal. I'm probably making a bigger deal than it should be. I feel like a lot of people like I've talked to about this, they're like, I don't understand what the problem is. And I'm like, well, that's because you don't like, your thing is being a musician. Your thing is not a total package. I'm not saying that I'm a total package. I'm just saying I really pay a lot of attention to that. Like I pay a lot of attention to what I look like, how I interact with the musicians, and how I play, like how I interact musically. And like, I feel like that's why I get hired, Yeah. Or at least I'd like to think so. But a lot of musicians, especially in this band, only are interested in how well they can play the gig. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's why they're not invited to photo shoots and video shoots and all that stuff. So when I've brought it up to other musicians, like I just don't feel like I have a stake in this thing. I just feel like I'm a hired gun when it comes to paying me, but I'm not a hired gun when it comes to everything else.
Yeah.
So I'm not in this band. I'm hired to play in this band. So we should be treated like we're hired to play in this band. And I shouldn't be in your photos, and I shouldn't be, that's a separate thing. If I was in this band and this was my band, just like it's your band, then I would feel more comfortable with that. But when it comes time to like ask me if I'm available and I'm like, I can be, it's like, nah, forget it. We'll just get somebody cheaper. So I'm not in your band.
Sounds like you guys got to have a talk.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
I ain't trying to hear that right now.
I hear that again.
I ain't trying to hear that right now.
All right, Phil. Woo. Anything else?
Not really. I mean, I gotta, let me try to compose myself. I mean, your whole attention to the stage aesthetic and your look and how much importance you put on that, I feel like has inspired me. And it's because I never really cared that much about that. I just never really thought about my own fashion that much or anything.
Yeah.
But, since I've known you, I feel like I've definitely been thinking of it in a different way and putting more importance on it. And it does matter.
Yeah.
It really matters the way you look.
Well,
like we're in the entertainment business,
right?
And like a huge chunk of it is the way you look and the way you come off from a visual standpoint when you're on stage. It's not just what you sound like.
That's my thing. Is like I don't think that I'm some like crazy high fashion like model guy or something, but I do care. Like when I go to these gigs, it's not like I'm putting these crazy high dollar outfits together. Dude, most of my stuff is just cheap, whatever. I don't know, but I do care about my thing. And I know my thing doesn't work for everything. Like I'm not getting hired in any heavy metal bands. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. I just feel like even if I did, I would still care to look the part. Yeah. If that makes sense. So this thing, dude, I can't tell you how many times I go through this. Like bands that I'm like not necessarily schmucky metals band, but like bands like that, like local bands or whatever that I've like subbed with or worked with or whatever, that I'm clearly not in your band. You just hire me on dates here and there.
Yeah.
It would be exactly like Cassie B being like, Phil's our drummer, but we're going to film a video. Could we hire you for that? And I'm like, well, why don't you just hire Phil?
Yeah.
He's your drummer.
Yeah.
Oh, he's unavailable. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be in a video for a band that I don't know. I'm not in your band.
Yeah.
You know, it's stupid.
Yeah, that's weird.
And I've had that situation happen where I'm like, just hire your guy. And it's like, I don't know, like well, I think that it would look better with the lineup that we have right now with you and the look. And I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. Like, if you want to hire me for that, like as a session, I'll do that. But yeah, man, I'm not like a great looking guy. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I just care. Like, you know, it's like, I don't know. I've had that happen a lot and it always bugs me. And it's happening this Friday, you know, on this gig where this guy is like, he's a good friend of mine, man. We've played for years together, but he's like really adamant on me wearing a certain outfit. Mm-hmm. And I think it's weird that I'm like, it's that big of a deal. I'm like, cause I feel like I am in this band. Like I said, I get first call, but I don't feel like it's that big of a deal at the end of the day. So I don't feel like if I didn't post that picture, I don't feel like I would be like told you have to wear that for the photos and for the gig.
Yeah.
So it's weird. I don't know, man. Just don't worry about it. Don't worry about what I'm wearing. Just know that I'm going to try to look my best in your photo.
Yeah.
Don't put me in the front as this is Corey Kingston's band, because it's not. I'm there sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Show number 29. Woo. With Chris Brady.
Yes.
Aquarian Drumheads coming on board, giving us some crazy stuff for the Drum Brigade podcast. That's incredible.
Super rad.
Along with them, Haram Drumsticks, Booty Shakers, Brixton, Drum Brigade, who else? Big Bang, True Tones. I never mentioned True Tones because he hasn't officially given his word. But we're going to get some other companies on board. The big one today is Aquarian then.
Big time.
Aquarian. If you want to check them out, you want to buy something from Aquarian, you got any questions, info@aquariandrumheads.com. Website is aquariandrumheads.com. You want an endorsement, just hit up Chris directly. Funky Phil, Corey Kingston, drumbrigade.com. Make sure you guys leave a review for this podcast
with your social handle.
With your social handle at whoever, if you want to win. It's the Drum Brigade Podcast, episode 29. Thank you, Funky Phil.
Thank you, Corey.
Yeah. Thanks, Aquarian. Thanks, Chris Brady. Drum Brigade. Drum Brigade. Drum Brigade. Drum Brigade.
Don't try to impress me, you're fooling only you. It's always the same old